Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another very exciting edition of coronavirus discussion on Heritage Television. I'm glad to have some professional with me tonight who are going to shed some light on what coronavirus is doing to us. I didn't say coronavirus. I said coronavirus because I've seen some few trending online lately that people were saying that Nigerians, some people in power, doesn't know how to pronounce coronavirus. If they don't know how to do it, they could have actually just say COVID-19, COVID-19. Maybe that might even be a bit difficult for them to comment and pronounce. Tonight, I have some few gentlemen with me. I have your usual guy, who is your favorite, who is one of my media team in England. We work together. Is the CEO for Koiki Media, Oluyemi Olayomi. Mr. Koiki, okay, we lost your voice completely there. We lost voice on your team completely. We're gonna try and fix that voice for you. Try and come out and go in again, and I will be introducing Mr. Sam Onigbanjo in the meantime. He's the CEO for so many companies. He has done so many things in the community, and is a very, very big community activist. I know him as a fundraiser as well, and he wants other businesses to grow. And that's him you're seeing on the screen. Welcome to the show, Mr. Onigbanjo.
Thank you very much.
Hello, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. And the big fish I have tonight, Yoruba people will say Egunlani Keigbale. That's why I actually kept him till a bit late. His name is Sonny Lambe, one of our favorite people in the southern part of London, Southeast London political arena. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I don't know about the big fish bit of it because I can't swim. So a big fish must be able to swim, and I can't
We'll
swim.
be able to swim.
So,
some fish are big and still they can't swim, and they don't even swim, which is a good thing. But the good thing is that we have you on the show. Thank you for joining us. We're going to connect back to Mr. Koiki in a minute. Thank you very much, sir. We're going to connect back to Mr. Koiki in a minute. I think he's just trying to fix his audio. Tonight, gentlemen, what we want to talk about is mainly our people's attitude in reference to the coronavirus. How our people are actually handling it, what they were thinking about it, and why is it that we're not taking it very, very seriously. When they said the churches should not open, few churches actually open. Is it that they don't know what they're doing, or they don't care for their own life? Can I start with Mr. Onigbanjo, please? Yeah.
Hi there. Thank you. It's hard to speak on behalf of other people, but when you read the news carefully, it's quite clear that many of the people that are listening to this news believe that coronavirus or COVID-19 cannot affect Black people. That's what.
Can I stop you there for a second?
Go ahead.
Sonny Lambe,
Yes,
is that true?
Well, I don't know about that because I don't think coronavirus discriminates, in terms of race, gender, or ethnicity, even religion. So anybody that thinks because the color of your skin is dark and you are exempted from catching coronavirus, I think that I don't know what that person is on.
I think
Maybe
they're
I need
dreaming.
a bit of it. Maybe I need a bit of what that person had. So I mean, okay. Sorry. Go on. Yeah.
Okay. Let's try Mr. Koiki if he's actually with us now. I can see him. He's back on the screen. We're gonna try and say something to him. Mr. Koiki, can you hear me? Okay, his audio is actually letting us down tonight. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna find another way to pick his audio out.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Let me try and get Mr. Koiki to join audio in another way. It might be slow, I don't know. It might still be the same. Okay, maybe not that one. Let's try the other number.
and it's actually showing that Koike is logged in. That
He's there.
so
We can see him.
yeah, yeah.
But sometimes technology do let us down sometimes.
It's the voice, yes.
It's the voice we're
That's
not getting,
technology.
yeah.
It's technology for you. You know how long it took me
And the good thing,
to solve
the good
us.
thing about it is that we're in England. What about if you were in Nigeria? We can't blame the Nigerians then. Okay.
Well, well, I
Okay,
can't
let's
compare
carry
because
on.
I haven't
You
lived
want
there for a long
something
time. So,
you want something that some people have that makes them believe the coronavirus will not affect them. That's what we're saying.
I mean, I've seen a few people, a few black people who have, contracted coronavirus. Even a few, cases that were reported to me today. So I don't believe the color of your skin, your ethnicity
Matches.
or gender or even your religion.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
careful. When you are giving, specific instruction to stay at home, we must stay at home, and for our own good, and also to
Yeah.
prevent from infecting others.
Wow. And some people think the best thing they can do is to flout the law or the rules.
It's wrong. As far as I'm concerned, it's wrong. It's wrong.
Mr.
Can I
Onigbanjo
can
wants
I
to
say
come in.
something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something you have to remember. The people you're talking about habits of breaking the law. So in Nigeria, you break the law. That's why you just go through red lights, you bribe at the airport. It's a culture. So when you come here, you don't expect people to just move from Nigeria to England and then change their habits. Their habits are not changing. It's the same people, they're just in a different country. So that's one thing. But down to coronavirus, you have to remember most of the people that are dying from this are elderly people. They're people that have existing medical conditions, and the huge majority of them are non-black. That's what
Yeah.
people are seeing on the media. That's what they're seeing everywhere. Everywhere you go, that's what you see. It doesn't mean people from other ethnicities are not in it. Neither does it mean people are not recovering, because a lot of people that are under the age of 50 that are healthy are actually, in fact, there's a report that says 98.2% of people are recovering from it. So all the
Mm.
people that are dying already have another sickness.
Hmm.
So when you're
I,
talking about these Nigerians that are not listening,
yeah.
there's two things. One is lawlessness, and the
Yeah.
other is what they about the disease and them not
Well,
actually
I'm sorry to cut you. I'm
Can I
sorry to
can I
cut you.
get
I don't think it's
okay?
only Nigerians, because in this country as well, UK. We've seen so
Mhm.
many individuals that don't, just go about their business as if, nothing is happening. Even today, even my local authority, the leader had to put a statement on social media to remind people of the importance of, obeying the instruction being given to all of us to stay at home, because some people just behave as if, I'm talking about all races now. It's not even got to do with color or anything without Nigeria. So some people just don't take it seriously. So of course, I can't speak about Nigeria because I haven't lived there for a long time, and so and of course I will only base it on what I hear from from stories of individuals or what is published and so on. But I don't think it's only
to
Nigerians
color or anything
that,
without Nigeria.
no.
So
Yeah. So we just have to be careful not to just blame one particular country. I think is
No,
it's just the
um,
general attitude of
yeah, yeah,
of human
yeah.
beings, and we need to
I
ring
think
it
what
home
we're
to
really
them
saying
that
here,
yeah.
yeah. So,
Okay,
sorry to
Mr.
cut in
Onigbanjo.
there. The question that was asked is the response of our people. So the question that was asked is about Nigerians. It's not about anybody else. If we want to
Mm,
widen the scope, we can widen it to include other people. Because if you go to the West End, there are a lot of English people that are flaunting the laws as well. But the question that we're responding to is why are Nigerians doing this? Why are they opening up their churches? Why? So we're trying to why the Nigerians. So we don't give a general
mm,
answer. We give a specific answer.
mm,
One
mm,
thing that we see is the attitude, and that's to do with indiscipline. That's an attitude issue. And the second thing is the belief that, well, we haven't really seen tons of African people dying from this. And the stories, because there's only one story we've been following clearly in Nigeria about there was this Italian man that flew into Nigeria with a cab driver. He got to Ogun State, and then the cab driver was fine. The Italian was healed in 2 days. So people are not sure if this thing is spreading in Nigeria, because when you think of it, Nigeria is a place where people touch things a lot. They touch dirty money, dirty food, and we're actually surprised that it's not spreading faster. But what we are understanding, one, is that coronavirus doesn't do very well in the heat. So
Yeah.
it could be because of the heat in our country that is actually suppressing. And then two, we're understanding that things like chloroquine, nivaquine that we've taken all our lives for malaria actually deals with this thing as well. So most of us at some point in time have taken ogun yum yum. We've been taking chloroquine, nivaquine. So
mm.
perhaps when this flu is coming, our resistance level is a bit higher. So I
Yeah.
think that
I still
having
come back to
contacted it,
what you. Yeah, I still come back to the point that it's got nothing to do with just Nigerian attitude. Because if you follow the global news in Iran, in other Middle Eastern countries, the stories are similar. So therefore, of course, I'm not saying Nigeria doesn't have its own issue in terms
Bad
of
attitude.
bad attitude, and so I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that in relation to the coronavirus, COVID-19, and the general attitude, the global general attitude, is just a bit laid back. Even look at us in the UK. It took us a while to, even the government to take it seriously. So therefore, it's just a question of all of us now realizing that actually it's killing people, and it's killing even it's not just older people as you said earlier. Of course, majority of people that have that have
Medical
have
condition.
been that have pre-condition and pre-existing medical conditions, elderly people and so on. But there are a lot of younger people as well who have been affected. So
Yeah.
therefore, I think it's the responsibility of all of us to encourage people to
To do the
obey the
right thing.
law and abide by
Can
to
I
do the right thing and
can I
follow
quickly
the
go to
instruction
Mr.
given to
Koiki?
us. Yes.
Mr. Koiki, are you back
Yes,
with us now?
I hope you can hear me loud and clear now.
We can hear you. So we can start with another introduction of you. This is Olayomi Koiki. Even though the last time I was saying Oluyemi is actually Olayomi Koiki. This is the Nigerian thing.
Unless you
I
want to
don't even know how to
rebaptize it
pronounce
now.
again. Okay, Mr. Koiki, welcome to the show. He's a media
Thank you
personnel
very
as
much
well.
for having me.
He run Koiki Media, both here and in Nigeria, and he's been passing out so much information so that he can educate people. Because at this very point in time, what we need most is to educate our people, and that is why we consider this program. Our man from Sodok, from Bermondsey, our big fish from Bermondsey.
You call me Biffy. I told you I can't swim. A fish must be able to swim.
To
Talk less
swim,
of a
yeah,
big one.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. One thing, for example, on Friday night, there were so many parties and
Yeah.
clubs and restaurants that were open Friday night.
Mm. Mm.
Did you know about them? Did you hear about it?
Well, I mean, it's not just club. Of course, there are a few social gatherings going on. Some people just think, this attitude, as as Mr. Onigbanjo rightly said earlier, saying there are people who have this terrible attitude. Now only ones with the dial. I am calling Uncle Jare, make I just enjoy myself. That kind of attitude.
Yeah.
I can't lock myself inside the house. There's a party going on. Let me go and enjoy now. So all that kind of attitude, of course, I can say yes, it's probably common with certain ethnic groups, which sadly is from our own end, But of course, it's very disappointing that the labor attitude of a lot of people towards this deadly disease, and
Yeah.
we need to be serious about it. Even myself, as much as I try to see what is going on with the community I represent, I have to listen to government advice that we should all stay in, because you can easily catch it and you go home and give it to a member of your family or somebody else. So it's better to be safe than be sorry.
So in one way, if you love your family, you will respect what the government is saying.
Because it's not just about you, is it? It's about other people that maybe, you may infect as a result. Even if you think you are immune from it, how about other people, elderly people, vulnerable individuals that maybe you carry without knowing it? You go and visit your elderly mother or father or even a friend or neighbor. So
Yeah.
we need to take it seriously. So if you think you are immune from it,
Yeah,
but how about somebody else who is not?
Mr.
that's the
Koiki,
point.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I would. I've listened to both my very uh, big brother, mentor, my very good uncle, I call. I think I failed. And the reason for that is, we so much believe in this democracy that sometimes we must have to change that attitude in a situation like this. And why am I saying that? China was able to curtail the problem because they took, the measures that the people and the population might not like, and we saw the reaction and the result of that. When the incident was brewing up, in January, and we were all focused in China, and I could see a lot of people saying, the attitude of China locking people at home and not allowing them to do certain things. I mean, I've had people saying, we want to take the dog on to the park here in UK, and now it has resulted to the death of over 5,000 or more in Italy. So if each of the countries have taken that decision, regardless of that might infringe on our human right, but it's a temporary measure, because now the number in UK is 281, and we are now going at the same peak as Italy, and we can now see from everyone still disobeying and not doing what we are told to do. And I think, that is what I believe, we should have done. And we should then, if otherwise, because we wouldn't be where we are now, and we wouldn't be having fear that we will lose a lot of lives because of what is coming up. And we saw China building those hospitals in 10 days. I haven't seen any measures in Europe,
Yeah,
regarding
it's incredible.
similar.
Yeah.
And so it's quite scary. So
Hmm.
okay, Mr.
No.
Onigbanjo, we were discussing this. Is he the government take the is the government action? Did it come late? Too little? Too late?
No, no, I think that Boris Johnson's government is very tactful. I think I think that they were cautious because they had to weigh the economic costs of shutting cities down. You see, because without the abundant prosperity of the city of London, the city no longer attract. You have to remember, even though London in a sense, is part of England. London is an international city. It's the global capital of the world. You can't close down global capital just like that. So there's a lot of mitigating factors and the towards this. But so I think that, behind the scenes, they've been planning testing. You can remember British doctors, professors are among the finest in the world. They have them engaged. They were testing. It's
Mm.
new, but I think they've started to increase the momentum now, and they've used a
Mm.
staged approach rather than like China that says shut them all down and people start to rebel. They've done it in stages, and every stage they've closed something down. They've brought about cushy measures, um, 12 months off business rates, this is VAT, 80% of your staff's salaries,
Sorry.
3 months mortgage holiday. So all these things are meant to balance out because you need to be healthy and
Mm.
prosperous. You need both. The reason why we're all in this country is because we're healthy, but the country we're from is not prosperous. If the country we're from was prosperous, we wouldn't be here. So you have to consider the economic viability of your country. So Boris taking it a bit cautiously was safeguarding the wealth of the UK to make sure it remains a prosperous city. So that's my view on it anyway.
No, I
But the
think
situation,
if okay,
Mr.
if I
Mr.
could
Koiki,
just
let's Tony
mm,
Lambe say something. Yes.
okay, I think Koiki made a very valid point in terms of perhaps some very the government should have, I mean, said the Prime Minister Boris Johnson should have been very assertive. But I won't go as far as being draconian in the way some countries might want to might want to approach it because we see the democracy we respect, we enjoy, we have to respect it in every possible way. However, when it comes to issue of national
Interest.
security, because this is national interest and the security as well, because our health is part of our security as a nation.
Yeah.
So therefore, that's when you need maturity to come into play. And to be
Mm.
honest, I'm not being partisan here. I think the leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, was more of a statesman than the prime minister, because the prime minister was away for about the first 2 weeks or more, or when the disaster. I mean, you can read it. It was on the news. It was in the newspaper. When the opposition had to, call the prime minister that issue actually, if you,
Do something.
the what they call it, do something about it because before it's too late. So, assuming the government had, taken some measures at the beginning before we got to this point, perhaps, it wouldn't have got this far. But at the same time, let's now look to the future because I'm more interested in what the government is doing now. And some measures the governments have announced the last, week or
Few days.
so. I think, yeah, I mean, no, at least this week, and some very tangible measures in terms of, 80% of, of your salary, and also part of what we are trying to, encourage government to do, especially those who are self-employed, those who are on 0-hour contracts and so on, even though there are some existing, you know, benefit system that actually can take care of that, but may not necessarily be enough to, to benefit those who are on who are self-employed, and that's why the unions and the opposition, they are pressing the government to do more in that respect. So I think now, as we, as member of the community, we are citizens, then we have to play our part as well, because it's our responsibility to make sure this thing doesn't get out of hand as well. So when we are giving specific instructions to stay at home, in order not to get infected, or even if you are infected, not to pass it on to somebody else, then we have to, obey the law. It's
Tony
only for
Lambe,
a temporary basis, and it's only for sorry, and for our own good. Sorry, go on.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you know that in England,
Mm-hmm.
if you said to today that you're gonna shave your beard in England, do you know
Mm-hmm.
some people are still gonna raise objection?
Yes, I do know that because that's part of individuals human right as
It's not there.
even
There is there.
but but at the same time there are times when government have to act if there's a need to be assertive and say sorry, for temporarily certain human rights have to be set aside, and these are the reasons. Of course, people will understand. At the same time, you always find some people that we always want to object to that. But if it's the best interest of majority of the population, the government can justify why it has to do that. Because you can't please everybody all the time.
No.
So if majority of the population, and after all, it's for public health reason. Therefore, any government is like doing the war. I mean, government can, initiate promulgate any emergency law that
Yeah.
we allow them to control, to control certain things if it's necessary, even to draft people into military if it's required, and to increase food production. So all these measures can be the step that government can take in order to make sure for our security is protected as citizens, and government
Mr.
should not shy
Onigbanjo,
away from doing that, in my opinion.
Mr.
Yes.
Onigbanjo, do you agree with our man that the steps the government take is a little bit late?
Okay, I even have a better question for us. I
Okay.
think really something really interesting that's happening now is that there's four of us on this program. We're probably 20, 30, 40 miles apart, but we're interacting, seeing each other, engaging without physically meeting. So we are obeying social distancing because we are using digital.
Technology.
And I
Yeah.
think really, yeah, we're using tech, we've gone digital. And I think really the bigger message here, going back to your first question about Nigerians, is that it's time we embrace and utilize more technology. That way, not only is it good for social distancing, but it's good as a culture. It's a culture that we need to imbibe because online like this, we can see each other, talk to each other, make payments to each other, receive. Yeah, so even a church can collect offerings online.
Yeah.
You see, so you don't really need to physically get into a place. And if you're on, it will actually cost you less than hiring a venue. The only thing you can't do online is Owambe and eat rice. That's the bit you can't do. But
Well,
everything
But
you're
they,
else,
quite
but I
right, and
mean, but you
just
the
to
forgot
right
push
stuff.
on
something.
what you said,
Okay, you forgot something
just
though.
to
Electricity in Nigeria.
It's
Even
not
if
constant.
people want to have access to this technology you're talking about, I mean, if you go to Nigeria, I mean, when I do go to
But
Nigeria,
say
if
here,
you are
Nigerians
privileged
in the
enough to
UK.
have, no, I think we are mixing the two together. We are looking at the way
No,
they do
no,
things in
we're talking
Nigeria
about we're talking about Nigerians,
as
Nigerians in the UK, not the ones in Nigeria, the
But
ones
the
here.
but the issue, okay, if limited to those of us who are in Europe and UK, for instance, I mean, you
Mhm.
talk about social distancing. I actually prefer to use the term physical distancing because
Okay.
there are so many ways by which we can socialize without physically engaging each other, or even if we engage through electromedia. So I think
Mhm.
people mix the two together. So physical distancing, I think that's the issue here, so that we don't pass it to each other. But if you already
And
live in the same house, so you can't avoid that physical physical
Contact.
connection. But if I want to, just for instance, instead of us coming to the studio, we have that physical distance, isn't it? But we are still
Yeah.
connected through electronic means
Yeah.
and through technology, and that's what we need to look at. But unfortunately, there are some people that don't even know how to use it, and look at how long it even took us to set it up because some technical issues. So
no, Sonny,
I'm
how,
not I'm
how
not
long it
trying
took
to
you?
excuse it. I'm just saying. Sorry.
How long it took you to say? Look, I'm a decision guy,
I
so it
think
took me.
the
Sam,
problem.
Sam, don't forget when I was going to
Hold
school,
on,
there
hold
was no computer. So don't
yeah.
even go there.
Well, I mean
When
the
most of us are
problem
going to school, there
is
was no computer. No, there was computer when we were going to school, but it was very big, massive PC.
There was
and
not
not
when I was going
Windows.
to school. Only when, maybe at my later age. But trust me, at the early part, there
Yeah,
was no computer.
there was no
They used
computer in
typewriter.
the early part.
They used typewriter those days. Then later on,
Yeah,
they used manual typewriter. And then later
yeah,
on, the electronic typewriter came. You want me to
came.
start telling you the story?
Yeah, we know the story. We know the story a little bit. Yeah, yeah. Okay, Mr. Yomi, you wanted to say something?
Oh yes. I think first and foremost, just to focus back as African, as Nigerians, we can't even obey normal rules when we are heading back into the continent. But when we're coming out of the continent, we tend to obey the rules. And I would now tell you that the government is struggling to find 1,300 people that refused to put in the right details on their landing card, even with the situation and pandemic, by going back to Nigeria, and now we can't trace them. That would have been different for somebody coming out of Nigeria to UK or any part of the world, knowing that the immigration officer might or not cross-check the number or the address that they are living to find out whether they will be sitting or living in the address that they are given on the landing card. So, and that again, individuals that have lived in Europe but yet disobey, when they were heading back to the continent. So it's just a very, difficult one to understand why we can't. And that also happens most time, both, big mentor on the sit with me would agree that when people attend network event, they don't put in their email address, and that means we can't reach them back again should we have anything to send to them. So the question in terms of whether we will be able to use technology, to communicate in Nigeria, the governor of Ekiti State could not even connect properly to channel station today through Skype. And that is the government house. And that is going to be difficult now if the situation in Nigeria goes into comatose, because the technology to communicate is there, but you will have to struggle.
Well,
Okay.
can I
I
just
like
pick up the point Koiki just made
all right.
in relation
Go
to collection of a collection of data or information that can be useful by the immigration service and so on if there is emergency like this. I mean, if that's the case, that some people, either they fail to put correct information or they fail to put anything at all. Then, I mean, what the government can then do in that instance is to make sure before they actually leave UK, for instance, assuming if the person is boarding plane from UK, you provide all that information, because there are some forms which you go through the airline, so that as soon as you get there, instead of filling everything on the plane as we do now, so everything should be done right from by the time you're boarding the flight, so that
no.
they have everything
Yeah.
electronically. I mean, they
Sorry.
can
Let me.
simplify the
Can I jump
system
in?
and make sure they have the necessary
Mr.
information. That's what I'm saying.
Funny, there's a big
Mr.
why. There's a
Onigbanjo,
big why.
go ahead now.
Yes, there's a big why. You see, I personally, I'll give you my
Mm-hmm.
why, and I've learned it a long time ago. I never fill in the correct details when I go to Nigeria. I'll
Why?
But
tell you
why is
why.
that?
Because the data has no integrity.
Yes.
Meaning, if I fill in a form with my true number, my address, the man sitting there can give it to his friends and arm robber, go to my house, me, and I drop some information, open up, and I come in. That is the reason. There's no trust in the system. There's no integrity. So people don't fill in their details because there is no integrity. So when you shortcut on security, it has ripple effects now. So the issue here isn't how do we
But
solve
do you know
the
it's
health.
against the law to actually
Hold on,
to
listen,
give false
Sonny,
information and sign
Sonny,
it?
Sonny,
Do you know that?
Sonny,
You live in
Sonny,
this country, brother.
Sonny,
Yeah, I'm
Sonny, are you
listening.
listening to me?
Yeah, I'm
People
listening.
are not prepared to die in Nigeria. When you fill in your details on the public form, there is no integrity. The information is shared amongst that rob you. If up in
I
Nigeria
can
tell you,
understand that.
listen, no. If you understand, then you know that somebody in your family would
But
have
what I'm
died.
saying is that, you see, two wrongs
No,
cannot make it
no,
right. What I'm
If-
saying is
no,
that
no.
what
If
we
your
can
family,
then
if your
do, what you can then do
Mr.
is to take
Sam,
the
Mr.
government
Sam,
to
could you
task
hold on a
on
minute?
that.
Hold on a minute.
Mhm.
Mr. Sonny, go ahead.
What we
Okay, go
can
on.
then do is to hold government to task on that. Because, okay, take for instance, I can perfectly understand what you're saying, that the integrity of the data need to be protected. You are absolutely right. But what I'm saying is that now, at the time of emergency when it's needed, it's not there. Now it's to protect you and I. So what is the solution? Therefore, we need to take government to task in that. This is where you have this problem, and so that they then make sure they do something about it. Because you know, you and I know, if you provide, so if they ask you by law to provide that information, you lie on it, you can be prosecuted.
Yes.
You and I know
Can I
that.
can I shed a
And
very big
if
light
we
on
are
this one?
law-abiding citizens, I don't think we should be doing that. Rather than take government to tax on this.
In the UK,
But I do
there is
understand what you're saying. It's a perfect
no
legitimate
law, and
concern. Yeah.
the risk is just too high.
Okay, Mr. Sam, can I
Yes.
say shed a little bit of more light on this one? That one does not only happen in Nigeria; it happened in this country as well. And I'll give you a scenario. I'll give you two scenarios. There was a time we are having the program in the studio, and we have a guest. It's not a station program; it's an individual program. So what now happened was that the lady that was doing two times, the presenter once scratched the name and the number of the guest of the form. The second one, when they finished, stole the form, took the form away. The third one refused to write the guest details on the form. Until I go back to them, I said, look, this is not my rules. This is Ofcom's rule. We have to have all these data, right? And so many people have been to the studio before that I still have to go and look for their number, because all those data we collected, we never use it to call them again. We collect it for that specific reason, for Ofcom use, and that is it. The only person that will give those information to is Ofcom or any official of the government that have interest in the program. And this is where people are not trustworthy. Our people, whether they are in Nigeria or they're here, this is the problem. They cannot be trusted in something small. So it's not
I think
everything
this
is not about
whole
government. Or what do you think?
well, it's all about the government. I decide. I think it's all about the government, and the reason for that is this coronavirus has literally opened up every government around the world how preparedness they are, in other, should we see anything like this in the near future. And I'm sure a lot of lessons will be learned across the board. But as much as we focus here in UK, and we also focus in Nigeria, the problem now is we are now seeing countries to country bringing out all measures to cushion, like Mr. Sam said there, that the 3 month break for mortgage and all that. But what about those in Nigeria, as the government is looking at the scenario? And I was listening to the one of the minister having a conversation this evening, and as much as a lot of Nigerians at home, we know we have a different kind of attitude, but people are not going to listen, just like we are not listening here as well, when they are told to sit down at home, because nobody is going to be feeding them, and that means there will be more chaos outside. And I think also it is an opportunity for people now to see that when people are clamoring for certain things, just like we have told the government to invest more in the NHS, and they have refused. But now we've seen what is coming up in this magnitude of the crisis that we are all facing.
Nigeria
Okay.
actually did something very well during the Ebola crisis. Because if you look at the way Nigeria actually, control the virus from spreading to the whole of the population, I mean, it was incredible. So I don't know why they didn't learn from that to make sure,
You know what?
of course, I don't know the full details of any allegation being made against the Nigerian government at the moment, because forgive me if I'm ignorant about this. I think it's only a few cases so far, if I'm correct, So therefore, I believe they must be doing something right over there to
You mean
stop
the few
the
cases of
spread
coronavirus?
in
We have
Nigeria.
we
Yes.
have 30 at the moment.
30, okay, yeah. So
Yes.
30, I think last week or the week before it was one or two, and then now it's 30. So I don't know what system they have in place in order to make sure I think if I want to go back, what I actually read today, forgive me, I read that now the airport and all the ports have been closed, so which
Yes.
means give the opportunity to monitor who are coming, who are going out, and then consider especially those who are already in. And of course, coming back to data we're talking about, if people did not give them the correct information they need to trace those who came to the country, how do you expect them to be able to trace their whereabouts and to prevent them from spreading the virus,
The virus.
among the rest of the population? The same thing problem we have here because people blatantly, disobey, the simple guidelines government gave that we should stay indoors. Only if it's extremely necessary for you to go and get some essentials, you should go out. But people still go about their business as if nothing is happening at all. This is the kind of careless, uncared attitude that we have, which, can put a lot of people's life in danger. And we need to take responsibility as individuals and as a
Okay.
community as well.
What will the councillor, the local government, the councils? We haven't seen any councils in London saying much apart
Mm-hmm.
from what the Prime Minister is saying. There's no grassroots information, Mr. Sunday Lambe.
No, actually, there are some grassroots information going on. But the thing is that because everything is being led by the national government, and also the mayor of London is also, working very closely with the government as well. So the leaderships right from the top. And at the same time, what I think is very important, where I do not blame, of course, what my local authority, for instance, our leader is doing is to make sure that it's, enforcing the advice
The central command,
being given by the government and the government national advisors and medical advisors and so on, to that all to pass it down to the local level. But this is where leadership comes in. It has to come from the top, because if the people at the top don't take the bulls by the horn and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, and these are your responsibility at the local level, and then if you don't do it, this is what we're going to do. Like in some countries now, you see them, arresting when they find people on the streets. If you want to go out, you have a special permit to go out, even though it's not something. If you want to talk about human rights, of course, it's not something I personally will like. But at the same time, if it what is going to make all of us safe and prevent the germs, the virus spreading and killing, thousands of people, so be it. So government
okay?
have to be bold and take actions when it's necessary. Sadly, it may not be popular, but government is not about popularity contest. It's about doing what is right for the country at a specific time. And that's what leadership is all about.
Okay, it's
Yes. But
about
the government has been
everything.
very slow on that, and that's the big problem. And people are now
Yeah, as I
getting
said
worried
before.
because people think we're on holiday. We are not on holiday. We're on crisis at the moment.
Well, I think you are
Holidays.
right in that sense. I mean, that's why I said at the beginning that yes, if you say government, we're referring to our own UK government here, I
Yeah.
presume. So, yes, that's why I said at the beginning, saying, yeah, the leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn, was more of a statesman than our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. However, in the last, week or so, I think, he has, risen up to the challenge, and with all the advisors, experienced and professional advisors around him, advising him, and including the chancellor coming up with measures that we reassure people that staying at home doesn't mean you are going to be out of
To
pocket,
suffer.
even though you may not necessarily get everything. I think you get 80% of your income. I mean, those
Yeah,
are the
you're not
concerns of
buying
people. Of
petrol.
course, sorry.
You're not paying transport to go to work. You're not eating at work.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
not giving your clothes to
You're not
laundry.
paying transport. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
So
just
that's
need
the
to pay your
20%.
rent.
Yeah.
And also government has also informed part of what we're also trying to do to make sure at least enforcement in terms of even private tenants, telling them to be a bit gentle in terms of when it comes to late payment of rent and so on, and those who are council tenants, so all these measures are already in place to make sure, because if you are on 0 hour contract, for instance, it's extremely difficult for you to to obey any government guideline. But if because of the measures that are being introduced now, even though there's still some gaps, and which especially those who are self-employed, because there isn't enough for them at the moment. So at least those who are unemployed, who are employed, at least there are some measures that put their mind to rest for now, at least for the next few months. And even if
Yeah.
I can remember correctly, I think it was backdated to the first of is it first of
Of
March, I
March.
think.
Yes.
Your first
Yeah.
of March. So therefore, yes, I think me, I must say there's been some positive steps in the right direction by the UK government.
Mm.
So
Mr. Onigbanjo,
I love. Yes,
how
I
is
was
this
going to
affecting
say
businesses, self-employed?
Sorry?
there's a big there's businesses and there's two different categories. But let me from
Oh
what
yes, you're right. Yeah.
um what Sonny was saying. Important. You see, when Tony was rightly describing what's going to happen or what's happening now, because the government, be it Labour or Conservative, generally the British government is trusted to take care of the welfare of the people. So people tend to know if you are in place, when things happen, one, the government has been smart, have enough economic clout so that when times like this happen, they can be trusted to look after the well-being of the citizens. Whereas in the Nigerian case, the government is not trusted because they do not look after, and this is all the parties, they do not generally look after the well-being of the person, and they never grow economic clout, meaning they just stick on one thing like oil, and then all the other areas are neglected. One of the reasons why the UK government can spend, because they've been making, growing money, saving money, not embezzling it. So now that there's
Mm.
trouble, they can invest in the community. But when you don't
I
grow an
think
economy and all you do is just embezzle it, when there's times of trouble, you can't do anything. Now, what I'm saying that is that the trust issue comes in. You
well, I
have
don't think
to
it's issue.
trust. Hold on one
I don't
second,
think
please.
it's
You
issue
have
of. Okay, sorry. Okay.
you have to be trust your God to do the right thing for you. So we're in that we're trusting to do things. They're not perfect, but they are moving and doing things that are putting people's mind at rest. UK scenario. Scenario, you watch it unfold, and we all know what's going to happen because there isn't that economic viability, neither do they have the trust. And it's not to do with any particular politician, it is general across the parties. The habit of the politician is to serve themselves and not the people. That's there. The question you asked me is, how is this affecting small slash self-employed? Now, in my case, because I'm into digital technology, I am experiencing an increase in demand. So more and more people are coming. Well, can you help us put our services online? Can you help us integrate CRMs? Can you help us with a system that can actually take money online? So what in technology, what we're seeing is that people are now being forced to do business using technology because of this social distancing and the fact that they can't go freely. So for tech companies, I suspect there's going to be a boom, and for food goes, as that you notice in the news, week one, Britain spent £60 million. That means that if you were went up. Even my local shop that was selling rice for $9.99. When I got there, it was saying, "Bros, it's $14.99." So a lot of businesses that are positioned in the right places are experiencing a boom. But for some businesses where you have to continuously go there, for example, like a club or a restaurant, they're going to be experiencing the decline. And this is where the government aid comes in. The area where there's a gap, the self-employed, is where there's a petition going on now that, look, you know what, if you're on zero hour contract or anything and you need help with sustainability, people are gathering and in petitions to see if the government can help them in their traditional business. When I say traditional, I mean businesses that are not. So, for example, if you expected us to come to your studio today for this, you would know that the likelihood of us coming would be zero because you were taking on a traditional approach. But because you've taken on a technology approach, you can engage people anywhere and they can keep on watching and engaging with you as usual. If you look this morning on Facebook, I saw about 1,000 times increase in church services online. I know that for my church, I help them online, but I noticed other churches running online, and the ones that are not are pulling out their hair now because they realize that if you want to keep on Sunday, you have to energy just to preach, but also tithes and offerings. For schools, you cannot send children home and then say, what are they going to do at home? I don't again. What is I'm experiencing more and more of my clients coming in, Sam, no people come to our tuition centers 5, 10, teach them face to face. How can we create rooms online so that we can engage children that are at home and still teach them for 2 to 3 hours a day and still get paid? So there's an opportunity here. The opportunity is in technology. So traditional in your thinking is going to make next way. At the end of this coronavirus, one set of people are going to become broke, and you're going to see a new set of millionaires. Me, I'm going to millionaire crew because I can see what's going on in that technology.
I like that. I like that.
I can see you're using technology. This is the way we have to. You see, everything we have to realize that in the Agbako there is an opportunity. So people need to recognize
Sam,
this technology here. Everyone needs to
Sam,
shift.
technology cannot
And
grow the food we are going to eat. You need to go to the farm and grow them. That's number
Yes,
one.
yes,
I want to say. That's number
automatically,
one. And number two,
automatically.
I was going to say is this. You mentioned okay. If you can, you have to compare like with like. Now here we are privileged that there's something called social security. It doesn't exist in Africa. It doesn't exist in Nigeria. So
you,
therefore, when people
Sunny, stop. In Lagos in the 1960s, there was Social Security under
this
the
is
government of
2000, this is
no,
2020. Please, my
Sam,
brother,
like for like,
let me finish my
let's
point.
Sam,
This is
like for like.
my brother,
Mm.
let me finish my point.
It
This is
existed. The
2020.
people removed it.
You see,
Sam.
we are now talking about what you see. Okay, if you go back to the 50s, don't forget the British were still in control. So we are
No.
talking about
Under
2020. We are talking
Awolowo,
about 20.
it
We are talking
existed.
about 20. We are talking about 2020. And this is the
Mm-hmm.
fact. The fact still remains there's nothing called social security in Africa,
Anymore.
most African countries, or in Nigeria. So therefore, reality is when people have to choose between staying at home to fight coronavirus and go out, brave it and go out and work in order to earn money to pay their bill, you know what the answer is going to be. You know how many people you probably help yourself if a few pennies sending every month because they need to pay their children's school fees and they need to pay their rent, feed, and so on. That's a situation that is common in most African countries, more especially in Nigeria. But here we are privileged that government is ready to pay 80% of our income. We have free health. We have a lot of benefits we enjoy here. But unfortunately, that's not the case in Africa. So that's why when government they're a bit reluctant to introduce draconian law. I'm not saying there isn't bad government there. I will be the last person to actually defend any African government. But at the same time, you also have to understand they have to consider all these things. So therefore, when we're considering, governments, we have to be careful before we compare African one with the
No,
Western one, because they are
Can I?
just not two equals. You can only
let me do some.
compare two
Let me do some.
equals. Yes, my
Between
brother, I'm
1975,
listening.
between 1975 and 1983, the government of Lagos State under Latif Kakande proved he built an untold amount of schools and he provided for school free food. There was a socialist system in Nigeria in 83. Prior to him being governor, under Awo, there was a system where people were getting benefits. What this tells it is not the country, it is the individual. You gave an example earlier about Ebola. It wasn't that the Nigerian government had a good, it was that Dr. Stella Adovi, may her soul rest in peace, was a thinking person. She took it upon herself to safeguard the whole country against Ebola, and she died in the fight. It wasn't Nigeria, it was people. What I'm trying to tell you is that as long as the majority of Nigerians think in a very, let's just take it, mediocre approach, the country and continent will remain the same. What is going on is that we have mediocres in charge. You need cutting edge. We need to embrace technology, to embrace leadership. We need to have passion. Not, well, this is how it is. How it is can go to hell. I can tell you for free. Because how it is 60 years of going to mosque, 60 years of going to church. Nothing is going on in that country. So it's not God's problem. It's the people.
No,
Every time you have a good God, every time you have a
I
good God,
agree.
or in Nigeria, things change. I mean, the
No, I
case of
agree with
like,
you. We need
okay,
to.
hold on. It's
I
really important that we bring out his case study because Latif Kade Jakonde's case study is very relevant. He started the metro line in 1980. He built 50,000 schools and he provided free breakfast. People need to realize it is down to the individual and his vision and his passion. So Nigeria can surpass the UK if you don't vote along tribal lines or religious lines or all this who's giving me rights and dodo lines. That's what's killing the country. What you should be looking at is who can actually deliver, not who's giving me rights and dodo.
you
That
see,
is
we
what
are
is
not.
causing the problem in
It's
that place. So,
no.
Sonny, the reason why I'm reacting like this is because I can
I'm
see that as
not
long as people
disputing.
think like you, hold on, as long as they think like you and they say take it easy, Nigeria won't grow. We cannot
No,
take it easy anymore.
I'm not disputing
We
the
have to
fact.
fire up. You were trying to water it down and say we're in a
No,
country.
no,
No,
no.
no,
If you just
Nigeria
visit,
can do what people can do if
I
we
think
push and
no.
do the right thing.
Leave it.
Sam,
I mean,
problem
I'm
is
not.
as
Okay,
much
yeah.
as
Sorry,
we
quick.
looked
Yeah.
at the country, even the citizens are not serious. And I'll tell you,
yeah,
while the
yeah.
conversation was going on, I was looking at what is trending in Nigeria as at now. And what is trending will surprise you because as much as we are here sitting down discussing, what is important and what is affecting, I hope you can still hear me there.
Yeah, yeah, we can hear you.
Yes,
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you
They
clearly.
are they are they are discussing Messi FC versus Ronaldo FC. That is number one thing trending. And the second one trending is Ultimate Love Nigeria. And the third one, which I'm sure a lot of us have, is the COVID. So it just shows how,
The
the
mentality.
citizens, take things lightly. They are so, the non-charlatans, and some of them are even saying, the whole coronavirus is just about maybe some of our leaders that have also, in kind of corruption is just for them to collect money from World Bank, and that's why they've increased the figure of the number of cases that is in Nigeria. So it just shows that people are not, they keep saying this is audio. While the whole world is trying to cushion and say, I'll give a little bit of the statistics of how damage with coronavirus wreak on global economy. The economy that we don't even have at the moment, but look at what is trending on Twitter. And I'll just go back to you on the other side.
You made a very valid point, and Sam as well. I mean, I remember all the all the performance of past administrations in terms, especially Western, I would say Western Nigeria, when the Unity Party was in control. Jakande was in Lagos, Oyo State, Ige, and all the rest. Ajashin in Ondo State. Am I right?
Yes,
Debo,
you're
am
right.
I
You're
right?
very right.
Yes,
So, yeah,
yes,
so
yes.
these are facts. I'm not disputing all those as well. And that is why when you compare Western Nigeria with the rest of Nigeria, including the East, I mean, they are, we're miles apart from each other. So, I mean, that's indisputable fact. But what we are saying now, we are now looking at, okay, of course, yes, it's right to revisit the past because the reason why we find ourselves where we are today in terms of all our crumbled,
System.
dysfunctional institutions, systems, schools, hospitals, and so on. Of course, this is why we find ourselves in that situation because of bad management, because bad leadership. So you are absolutely right. But I'm also I'm also an optimist. Okay, now we find ourselves in this situation. We look at the past. The past is always good to look at in order to learn lesson from it. So that because part of the past, the reason why we find ourselves where we are today is what mistake we made in the past. Also, there are some good things from the past as well. People like myself, yourself, so many others are also product of the past. We are
Yeah.
not necessarily those who destroy things. We are the one who want to take things forward. And they also deserve very good, even though we may have thousands of people, bad ones there, trust me, there are also hundreds of good ones there. So therefore, how do we take where we are today to a better tomorrow? And is that tomorrow I'm interested? Of course, we can't get better tomorrow unless we start working or building a foundation from today. So therefore, how do we make sure that change, effective change happens? How do we
Okay.
start bringing those individuals who are ready to make those positive changes into government departments, even into immigration and so on? We're talking about the data integrity, which you mentioned earlier. The reason why people give false information or they don't want to disclose information about themselves, where they're going, because they don't trust the system. So these are all the issues we need to work together to put pressure on the government because, of course, I'm afraid of that as well. I visit Nigeria and I'm afraid that if I take a taxi, somebody already waiting for me somewhere. You are right. But at the same time, no, you are right. But this information is very important. So how do we then work together to let government realize that? They are not beyond redeem, trust me. Even though they don't have to go to redeem church to do that. But so how do we make sure that they understand, the seriousness of the case? And that's what we need to work together as individual and collectively as well. So you're absolutely right. But I'm one of these people. I always try and look for solution and what I can do as an individual and also work with others to change things positive than dwell too much, waste a lot of my energy on blaming game because it's not going to take us anywhere. And that's my point.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. Mr. Sam, you're a Christian. You go to church.
Yes, yes.
What is the church doing? What attitude are they putting on? I've seen people saying, Corona cannot catch us because we're a vessel of Christ. That. Right? Didn't they take Jesus away from Bethlehem and take him to Egypt for security reason? Didn't the book of
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah said, Isaiah 26:20 says that in terms of this, in situation like this, you should lock
Mm-hmm.
yourself into your inner room, hide yourself until all this problem pass away. Is the
Okay,
Bible
let,
not
let, let
saying
me
that?
let me ask.
Even to buttress the point you just made, remember that was time they
Mhm.
have to kill rams and say, okay, all of you stay in your rooms and let all the plague pass it and put
Yeah, the blood
kill
on the
lamb
on the
and
wall
put
on the
cross.
lantern.
You see,
Okay,
so yes, so
okay.
why are we not then behaving like like
So,
that
so
in modern setting?
let's answer the
It's in the
question. Let's answer
Bible.
the question.
Sam, answer that,
Let's
brother.
answer. So we have Old Testament and we have New Testament. The reason why
Oh
it's called
God,
Old
where we
Testament
go again?
is that
Here we
that's
go
the old
again.
sound. Oh
Here we
yes,
go
and
again.
there's a
Old
New
Testament and New
Testament
Testament.
as
Okay.
well. Now, What is the church doing today? Well, I can't speak for every. I know in my church, we are doing 14 days of teaching on how to meditate on healing scriptures and the word, so that you will fortify yourself, knowing that your healing as a Christian comes from Christ, and that's where your faith is meant to be. One. Two, we're being very wise. So we're doing social distancing. We do not do, we're not doing our Sunday meetups anymore. In fact, today, Mother's Day, all the gifts that we had for all of our women that didn't come to church, we had to actually individually go and give it to them. Number three, we're doing all of our things online. So anyone keep on hearing, jump online. If you miss it, you can hear the recording, and the recording is free for anybody that wants to know how to meditate and listen to the word and repeat and confess your healing. So that if Corona does come to you and you're filled with faith, when it touches you, you will die. That is what our church is doing, and that's what I do. That's what I'm exercising as well. That's my faith, my household, my church. That's what we're doing. So there will always be people that will laugh. You know, this morning we talked about Darius. They said his son was dying. Jesus comes. Soon later they said, your daughter is dead, and people started to laugh. Ha ha ha! She's dead. Don't bother the master. Jesus chased them away. To go. When he got in the room, he touched her by the hand and raised her up. So everyone that
Well,
laughs at the power of the gospel, we leave them to laugh. It's a free world. Those that want to believe it, exercise it. So what is the church doing? We're doing a daily teaching for anyone that wants to partake for free, to learn how to meditate on the word, to take in supernatural healing for you and your household. And two, we're being wise. We're obeying the government, obeying everything. We're not doing our meetings, and we're obeying by social distances. That's what we're doing.
Oh,
well, you
thank you
know
very much
why
for
we
that.
know you know why we desist from even going for that around the
The Bible
theological aspect, because there are people who are non-Christian, either Muslim or atheists, who have their own opinion on what is going on. So therefore, I'm not even going to apply any, go too deep
religious thing.
into,
Okay,
any religious,
it makes sense.
But however, what I'm going to say is that, which irrespective of which religion you belong, I think the threat of coronavirus is serious
It's real.
and is existential, and the responsibility is on all of us, individuals and as a community, to make sure we behave responsibly, we listen to government guidelines, we follow it to the last letter. We don't think, they know better. These are experts. They know better. Don't think you know better than them. When they ask you to stay at home, stay at home. We are lucky in this part of the world. The government is ready to pay at least 80% of our income if you're out of work. Of course, even if you are self-employed as well, of course, I'm not saying they've gone enough on that. And the trade unions and opposition and all others are working on to make sure at least those who are left behind now are also, there's some package that will meet their needs as well. So why do you want to risk your life? I don't know why. So
And reach the
therefore,
life of
my
others.
advice and word of advice to everybody who's listening to this program: please obey government instruction. If you are asked to stay at home, please stay at home. Don't risk your life and don't risk the life of others.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Koiki, what's your last word on this one?
Okay, I've got a video, and I think this came out just 8 hours ago. Posted on Facebook saying my experience and recovery so far with coronavirus day 7. I think just like my brother Mr. Sam was saying there, that when it comes to the religion aspect of it, and looking and listening to what Councillor Sonny Lambe said as well, because we have to remember that Not everybody has, either kind of either Muslim or Christian. Some don't even believe in anything. And the most important thing in regarding safeguarding, lives presently now is to heed to the advice. And every country will be different. Nigeria will be different. Americans, will be different. And right here in UK, where we are, is also a different thing entirely. Yes, the government has still given us a little bit of leeway, but I think it will be very ignorant of us to want to have that big gathering, knowing, like I was saying to my own household here, that I'm not expecting to see anybody visiting us, because I don't know where they've been. And that means, that is part of what the government is telling us. Because, yes, there might be our friends, our family. I don't know where they've been before. I mean, for them to come to me, that means they must have been to places as well. So, and the fact is, it's better to be safe than to be sorry and then trying to praise the Lord. So I will still go with the rules and what the advice of the government. Yes, our faith will be there, but again, that is just my own opinion.
Mr. Sam,
Yes.
your
My
last
last
word on this one.
words.
Yeah.
Look, I think where ever since World War II, this whole world has never been in this kind of problem. This is something that's affecting the entire world. So I think it's an opportunity for leaders. When I say leaders, I'm talking about you, myself, anyone that counts themselves as a leader, to position themselves to do the right thing, which rightly is support the government as much as possible, support people in the health service. If you're a person of faith, you exercise your faith. But whatever you're doing, do not take this lightly. Don't expose yourself to older people who could, catch this. Don't expose yourself to people that are younger who may have underlying medical conditions that you're not aware of. Show love. I think the most important thing that we should be thinking about now is how to show love to our neighbors by listening to the government and staying away, and doing our best to support our National Health Service to defeat this whole nightmare. And
Okay.
stay digital. Go online.
Thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate your turning up for this show today. Uh, I would like to
And
address
thank you,
everybody.
Adi. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Yeah.
I would like to address everybody, uh, whether Nigerians, non-Nigerians, black people, white people, purple, orange, green, whatever color you are. Coronavirus is a serious threat to human existence. It's a cancer of the environment. If we don't take to the advice of the experts, it will eat us all up. And the earlier we take it and take it very seriously, the easier it's going to be for every one of us later on. Nobody wants to lose any loved one, whether young one, old ones, or medium age one. Corona is not only killing over 60, 70, 80s. It's killing 40, it's killing 30. Yes, the young one will recover more easily than the older ones. But if you expose yourself to any threat of coronavirus, and you might be very, very unfortunate to be at the wrong place at the wrong time by not sitting down at home. Yoruba people were sọ pé èèyàn kì í gbélé kó fọrùn rọ, ẹ má fọrùn rọ ń ta o. Sit down at home for the meantime, follow the instruction. Ìmọ́tótó ó borí àrùn mọ́lẹ̀. Wash your hand as many times as possible. Don't rely on the sanitizers alone. Because I heard yesterday that sanitizer is a temporary fix. Wash your hand with soap and water is the best thing. Not dipping your hand inside water to wash it, because you're not rinsing the dirt away. But you run tap over your hand, or somebody pour water over your hand, and then you wash it that way. That's the best way to wash your hand. Stay healthy, stay out of trouble, follow instructions. Even if you don't have money, there's still hope. The Bible does not say don't hide. When the flood was coming in the days of Noah, why did God hide them in the ship?
Big one.
Yes, our body is the temple of Christ. Right? Even Christ was hidden from Pharaoh, from Pontius Pilate. If God said they should tell you to hide, it means God wants you to hide.
Yeah.
And Yoruba people will say, Majamasa, Lafim Maki Kojuloju Ogun. If Goliath hide from David in those days and come back later on, Goliath might not fall from the hand of David. But if you don't follow the instruction, if you want to brag about our immunity, I can conquer coronavirus.
Ajesara.
Yes. I'm sorry, it might be too late before they realize it. If you see the state of people at the hospital, if you see them at the intensive care bed, you feel pity, you feel sorry. Then you will know this is not a joke. 20-year-old boy, strong boy, 40-year-old, they don't even know what they're doing. They have to keep turning them every 2 hours so that their heart doesn't feel too much pressure. So this is very, very, very real. On this note, I would like to thank everyone who has been watching this program live from our Manchester studio. I really appreciate you. I thank you for watching. Tomorrow is another day, 9 o'clock till 10:30 in the evening. We're going to have it again. Hope to see you then.
I need to go
gentlemen.
and catch my train back to London.
From Manchester. No problem at all, sir. From Manchester, yeah. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jerusalem, Jerusalem, land of glory, Jerusalem, holy land, then they visit to Jerusalem.
These are the things that have been written, and we are bearing witness to them as being true. This is an opportunity for you to visit Israel, Mount Nebo in Jordan, the ground where God spoke to Moses, showing him the promised land and the holy land of Jerusalem. 10 days visit to see for yourself the places which you have read in the Bible, like Elah Valley, where David defeated Goliath, Mount Nebo, Sea of Galilee, Canaan, where Jesus turned water to wine, River Jordan, where John the Baptist baptized Jesus Christ, Joseph and Maria House in Nazareth, Jericho, the Dead Sea, the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus prayed, Lazarus' tomb, King David tomb in Jerusalem, the house where Jesus and his disciples had their Last Supper, the Pentecost Upper Room, and so on. Our office is at Albert Basins, South Dockland, London, E16 7QY. For more info, please visit www.holytrinitypilgrimage.co.uk or please call Captain Mother Hassan on 078 721 37953 or Pastor Elijah Kamui on 079 846 34898 or email us info@holytrinitypilgrimage.co.uk. A pilgrim is not a tourist. The tourist sees sights and returns home the same person, but the pilgrim gains insights and returns home changed and spiritually fulfilled.
Jerusalem, Jerusalem. What's the Heritage TV? Heritage TV.
Everybody in London, have you heard that Heritage Television has come up with something new? All your functions and celebrations can now be multi-camera live stream. That was only reserved for the rich and famous. Having a function in London can be viewed clean and clear immediately from any part of the world. Trust Heritage TV to give you a better reach. Heritage Television also does photography that will make you the envy of all your friends and family. Heritage Television is the best. All your functions like birthdays, funerals, weddings, church anniversaries or harvest. Heritage Television is the master. We are in the heart of London with an ultra-modern equipped studio. You can call us on 020-800-46100 or email us info@heritagetv.co.uk or mobile 0734 1234 560. Heritage Television will do you proud.
You need to hear from me. Let me say my own side of the story.
You have nothing to explain. How dare you talk while I am talking? All that campaigned for you, you abandoned them, including me.
Second tenure to compensate everybody that worked for me.
You are waiting for the second tenure to come before you can compensate them.
The governor is really looting the state dry to campaign and elect you as a member of the state's House of Assembly. Just like that. I hope people are not trying to set me up.
Your Excellency, sir.
Yes?
Is it true that you are loggerhead with your presumed political godfather, Chief Obitiki?
Oh, Governor, answer the question.
Yes.
Answer the question. Yes or no? We are here to tell the governor and his cohort to free Ngozi. She was only exercising her freedom of speech.
We believe working with you is going to give us an edge over other parties.
You said you have a candidate.
Yeah.
3 years ago, you came into this palace. Then, wretched, hungry. Then I introduced you to Obidike.
Could you imagine Obidike peddling rumors everywhere? Telling people how he sponsored me, how he single-handedly made me the governor.
Look at what you are saying about a man who gave you 600 million naira.
I want to give you 1 billion naira.
I am no longer in support of his second tenure ambition. So I want you guys to keep away from him and all his cronies. Do I make myself clear?
Blessings.